I came back from a vacation and like, hey, we're going to talk raises and talk about the next year when you get back. And it was turn your keys in on Thursday. That marketing is becoming more and more complicated all the time. More complicated today than it's ever been. Brandon, the hardest stage is the starting stage. That is the absolutely hardest stage. You might go down in your finances. You might lose in that early startup phase. You might break even after that. And it might be years. But is that successful to you?
Welcome back to another episode of The Founder's Hustle, where every business has a backstory. Today's guest is Dan Martin from KZoom, which is a full-service digital marketing agency. They specialize in websites, SEO, digital marketing, and video production. That's where it all began. Today, we're going to listen to Dan talk about his pivot from video production specifically into the full-service marketing company that he is today. So sit down, buckle up, and let's hear his story. Welcome, Dan.
Oh, wow, Judy, thanks for that applause. That was really special that you had that queued up.
Yeah. Well, we have, a huge audience today. Huge.
Right.
Absolutely. But yeah, so, here's the thing. Everybody has a vision. Everybody has the reasons for doing what they're doing. But I am so extremely fascinated. The fact that you started in your basement more than 20 years ago, video production. Give me the backstory. What the heck happened, Dan?
Oh, man. So the basement lasted for just a couple of years, but it was a couple of years in the basement.
Right.
So at that time, it was probably the most thrilling thing. Looking back, we're like, oh, you were in the basement. So
was this your parents' basement or your basement?
So this was for those in the Kalamazoo and Portage, Michigan area. It was off of Portage Road in the Millwood subdivision off of Royce Avenue. So it was our first home.
Nice.
Yep.
Very good. So you came out of what, college, and you're like, I can do videos, and you just got down there with your camera? Or how did you secure your first client? What came up with the idea? Like, how did you even get started?
All right. I'll have to back up into some of this information.
Oh, okay.
Like lead up to it. So there was more previous to 2003 I started KZoom.
Do tell.
So in 1997, I had seen a digital editing computer in my high school. It was like being installed so I went to Plymouth Canton Educational Park, PCEP, over near Ann Arbor. My dad was a high school art teacher there, coincidentally at the same time that I was a student. And they had just put in this digital editing computer, and I just saw that and said, like, how do I get to use this? And they said, well, there's one teacher here that was just hired this year that knows how to use it and no one else. So I went and talked to Nicole Finnegan. Side tangent story, I've tried to look her up, like present tense, to like reconnect with her, and I can't find her anywhere. So I don't know if she has a new last name or that type of thing. So let's put that out there to the audience right now. If you know this person,
Nicole
maybe there's
Finnegan.
A cash reward to like connect the dots. But she taught me in my junior year of high school and senior year. We worked out an independent study. So I went to class and just did 1 hour a day in high school learning digital editing. So through college, there were no majors other than Hollywood or broadcast television. And I was not interested in either. And the year was like 1998, 1998, 1999, 2000. Like I had my email right then, AOL.com dial up, right? Like that's when all of this was happening.
I remember.
So there wasn't a creative media major. The world wasn't even thinking that way yet. It was still, by 2006, 2007, we were still burning DVDs en masse. Like professionally, like the internet was not caught up with web videos yet. So even coming into the Kalamazoo area of starting KZoom, it was like it hadn't hit the world yet on the video side of things. that this was a career, it was a profession. I had just been doing enough of it through high school and college digitally that it was something that I was just drawn to.
So you basically birthed video marketing in the late 90s, early 2000s.
In this area and in other areas, it was already happening. I mean, there were probably lightweight jobs with certain businesses or organizations. In the Kalamazoo area, I was employed by someone doing digital editing in 2002.
Okay.
Prior to starting KZoom for a year. So it was around. There were a handful of places that were doing it.
And then what was the aha moment that made you say, I'm going to do this on my own?
The aha moment was when I was let go at that company. So I had made a proposal that like, hey, we could do this. We could do this. I could bring in more money. Like I could advance things. And even in the midst of that thinking, there was a routine cycle of just recycling somebody on a low salary and making it that way, which is kind of polar opposite to my philosophy today, right?
Yes. Not only that, okay, so I have personally worked with you on several projects, and I can tell you, you are not cut from the same fabric of the average Joe.
Yeah.
Very creative, very outgoing, very funny, and you're always thinking of ideas. So the fact that you're thinking outside of the box, but yet not really being rewarded for thinking outside of the box, that was probably very damaging to your DNA, basically. So
I wouldn't call it damaging, but it's just like, I was putting that extra discretionary effort, as some people call it, into that workplace. It wasn't like I was planning on doing my own thing over here. I was wanting to develop and grow and give more. And
right.
that, it didn't work out. I probably didn't think much about it, but it was the aha moment was more like, what am I going to do right now?
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you and a camera and let's roll, right?
Yeah, but I didn't have a camera yet.
Oh, that's kind of important, eh?
Yeah. So like I kind of got hey, turn your keys in on Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like I came back from a vacation and like, hey, we're going to talk raises and talk about the next year when you get back. And it was turn your keys in on Thursday.
I think I would have chucked the keys personally, but that's just me.
Yeah. I got a sound effect for that. You ready? You think that fit?
So you chucked the keys at his face, basically. And then you said, I'm starting my own. Oh, shoot.
No,
okay.
It was just, hey, okay. I mean, I was 23, Judy.
Yeah, yeah.
There's so much that I didn't know anything about this area.
Okay.
I didn't go to a single networking event for 10 years after that because I just didn't know.
Were you as outgoing at 23 as you are today?
Only in certain environments that I knew.
Okay.
I mean,
by
nature, I love it. Extroverted more. I don't get nervous. Like, I love being behind a microphone on a stage. Like, that's a minority direction of like number of people. Like, I really enjoy that.
Right.
So like, I always had that.
Yeah.
But like in business, I didn't have any experience in business outside of like, had a paper out when I was younger, had to collect at the end of the month, like that kind of stuff.
So, okay, two things. First of all, every entrepreneur that I have spoken with to date has operated a paper route. I think that operating a paper route was a direct route to being a successful entrepreneur. You now have a camera. Like, how the heck did you secure your first client?
I mean, again, that week that I was let go, it was like there wasn't a camera, there wasn't a computer even. And so my father-in-law, Gordon Brinks, was in the Grand Rapids area, not far away from Kalamazoo. And when he heard about that, he heard that there was some discussion about maybe going at it on my own. And he said, how much do you need? And that was the most encouraging thing of someone who knew, I was feeling in a desperate situation of like, what do I do for work right now? This was unexpected. I didn't have a backup plan in place, but just the words of like, I've got your back. What do you need? Let's go for this. Was like, that's all that I needed. So he said, "How much do you need?" And I asked for $7,300 to purchase the first camera and my computer. And that was it.
Okay. Wow.
Which
Okay. So,
in hindsight, it was like I thought that was asking for the world in
right.
dollars to start a business. And it was relatively not that much, right?
Tell me about your first client.
So first client in 2003 was Third Reformed Church, now Centerpoint Church. So during those early years, I mean, one of the first projects was to document everything that they did in the church, and we burned DVDs so that they could give them away to visitors. Like literally, like other first clients that first year were dance recitals and school Christmas programs, and like just a handful of, anything and everything at whatever level. During that first year, I started promoting weddings, and that was
There
a
you go.
primary income source for years and years and years.
Okay. So weddings was your focus that started this snowball effect. At what point did you pivot from weddings to becoming more into commercials in the business realm?
Yeah, I would say that it happened all the time. Like it was
Okay.
a continual, like maybe the focus was taking anything and everything. I don't remember thinking like, oh, I'm gonna really go after just this thing. Like you hear people talk about that, and a lot of people can if they have that experience. But I was taking everything. It was personal tape transfers from VHS tapes. It was I got into some reel-to-reel film transfer in the early days. Loved that because it's so ancient, and converting it to digital. But weddings was like just part of the mix of like just anything I could get to make it. So that, as far as your question about, like how long was that a focal point or that kind of thing, we still shoot weddings today. We don't promote it. Like people wouldn't know that, but we actively have referrals that come back to us. It's a blast to be a part of somebody's huge and special day that will never happen that way again. And we're really, really good at it, but it's not part of our brand. Where, if people knew that you did that, it would kind of maybe degrade like, oh, you do higher end corporate work.
Interesting. Fast forward to today, and you've pivoted even more by making yourself a full-service digital marketing agency, including website and SEO and design work and all of that wrapped into the storytelling with video production. But talk about your business today. Yeah.
So that transition from kind of the wedding world to like a full service marketing perspective, I had discussions with people as early as 2010, kind of coming out of the economic Great Recession. Still, right? Like in 2010, but there was this idea of working toward full service, one service at a time. So in the 2015s, 2016s, we were introducing professional photography as well as professional video, and still targeting that, over time. So it wasn't until 2020 that we started with what I would consider a true full service marketing client, where we were running the majority of their digital needs and marketing needs.
And right now you have a full, how big is your staff?
So currently today, KZoom is a team of 15 full-time professionals if I include myself.
Okay, excellent. And do you do work throughout the nation, or are you more specific to the Southwest Michigan area?
The answer is both. I would put it in the order of Southwest Michigan. We never want to outgrow our local area of service. Super passionate about being involved in the community and businesses of all sizes in this area of Southwest Michigan. Now, the work that we do nationwide is, for the most part, connected to clients in our local area. So, for example, Stryker will fly across the country to different places to capture different stories. But like, why is that? It's because Stryker's headquarters is 8 minutes from here.
Right. So, with all of the businesses that you have worked with, what challenges do you see reoccurring over and over that your company is trying to correct or help with?
I think one that's true for all time is the ongoing nature of developing and retaining top talent, right? Like people talk about company culture and that type of thing. So that like doesn't change whether the economy is horrible or when the economy is good. Like they still have to then compete for the available people that you want to have. But by being involved with a lot of different businesses of all types for all time, that's something that we have seen and interacted with for all time, especially on the video side of the fence there. For years and years, we have helped assist with about us videos, company culture videos, and sometimes we find ourselves like working over on the side of marketing people, and then we say, hey, like that this video about your company and these key distinctives of your core values that you're using outward facingly to land new business or tell new clients who you are, you realize like that can play super well over here with training and onboarding a staff of like explaining your history and who you are and who you want them to be as they're becoming a part of this company. So there is this trend that is connected to that I see is there's almost this digital merge between what is good for HR and is good for marketing. It's kind of the same thing. And then you have the last 5 years that we've gone through where in 2021, 2022, where companies are bleeding for anybody and everyone, like major crisis for staffing. And it's like there's a cost efficiency there as well, where it's like, hey, we can shoot this footage and capture your story and have it play in every direction. And it's your social media content as well on a marketing level, but it was all part of that same shoot to just hear your story and what your core values are and who you are.
So then taking that same question on to the digital aspect, what do you see businesses and entrepreneurs struggle with as it relates to the digital marketing realm?
Yep. The first thing that comes to my mind here is increasing, and I don't see it decreasing or going away, but it is that marketing is becoming more and more complicated all the time. So if you looked at it on a social media platforms level, if it's 2010, it's like, hey, Facebook, like this is easy. We just have one kind of major platform that we need to keep up with. But then 5 years later, it's Instagram, 5 years later, and 5 years later, and now we're TikTok. And the next 5 years, there's going to be something that then competes on that same level of notoriety that businesses need or should keep up with. But you have a huge audience on Facebook. You have a huge audience on LinkedIn, and your competitors are running double time in those areas. It's more complicated today than it's ever been to just keep up with all of the little segments. And I think that will continue to increase in complexity the more time passes, where different generations are connected in different ways or in new ways, but you need to keep on with the old efforts as well.
Right. So playing off of that a little bit, but pivoting into, let's look at the website. If you had to give an entrepreneur one piece of advice today, if you looked at a website, what could somebody do to really improve their website and make it a better user experience, if you will? What recommendation would you give?
We do a lot of work in the strategic SEO lane. And this is more new to KZoom from the point that we added Matt Davis to our team, who, in my opinion, is Southwest Michigan's top SEO specialist. And like I believe that all the way through. And he revolutionized KZoom's approach to interacting with clients because it's data-based, based on research and competitive research and those types of things. And we didn't have that before. So I believe that the day he started here, that's when we became a true marketing company, because we weren't just doing cool work that was creative, ultra creative, connected with people, but it was also highly strategic from the start. So in some ways, on that engagement level, I can't help but separate the engagement level from the SEO. So, for example, many, many different websites are simply named incorrectly with their page title.
Okay.
There was a company recently in Portage that launched, and all of their page names were very creative and fun. Like they named it, things like the body and the look and like these different things, but that's absolutely useless to connect to search. Like what comes up under search when you search for the look? It's like 100 different things. So it's very non-specific to the actual service that company provided. So as far as enhancing the user experience, it has to be strategic first. It has to be valuable to what they were looking for or maybe searched for. And then we add all the creative and the fun stuff to enhance that when we already know that somebody came there because they were interested and they were looking for something that was valuable. Then we bring all the value to it. So on that level, we have a ton of fun with, obviously one of our core strengths is that video service, and we'll sprinkle all kinds of value added things within video to a web page.
Very nice.
I got back to your question, Judy. We got there, but I kind of went on a little SEO tangent.
Hey, that's all right. We just went right around the circle and we got right back on track. So that's perfect.
Right.
No, it's fascinating for me being in marketing, just hearing everything that you just spoke on.
Yeah.
And I know.
And that's your world too.
Right. Well, and I know that a lot of small businesses, they struggle with the whole, because exactly what you said, marketing is no longer, do you want to advertise on the radio, print newspaper, billboard? There's so much to it that I think that small business owners are overwhelmed by it. With the companies that you're working with, what percentage of their marketing dollars are going to digital marketing versus traditional billboards, radio?
If I had to make up a number, because this is just a guess, right? I don't have data on this. I would guess 80% plus are going to digital. There's still some of the traditional methods, but it really comes down to, is that valuable to their market? Is that where their target audience is at? And if it is, that's great. Right? There's certain parts that are returning it to print and certain little markets and things like that. Like I'm thinking of one of our clients is a US-wide table pool company. They have a lot of their stuff in magazines still. Like that's an item that somebody wants to flip through that magazine. It's all pool information, whether the ads on a pool cue or a pool table or that, as well as like the professionals who are playing. And it's like, that's something you flip through. You could look it up online too, but like there's still these little niche areas where there is print. Yeah. And the audience is there, therefore that's why you're going to go there.
Agree with that 100%. So over the last 20 plus years, and as you've grown significantly, what are some of the biggest lessons that you have learned that you would pass along to up and coming entrepreneurs or current business owners looking to scale?
Yep. I knew you were going to ask that question, Judy.
You did?
Yeah, that you you wanted some meaty takeaways, right?
Heck yes, I did.
Yeah. So I think the first thing that I would say is, and I'm going to try to share my screen here.
Okay.
I would say one of my key takeaways is you need to know how to take a really dynamic headshot.
I remember that day specifically as I was goofing off, being my normal self, and you happened to snap the photo. And I have to tell you, that is one of my most favorite photos because it totally captured the essence of my personality, always goofing off. Yeah. So that was not my real answer to your question, well
but I was
played.
like waiting
well
for
played.
the right opportunity to bring that up. But I know that was ballpark about 10 years ago. As far as like the big picture lessons of what I've learned in it's currently 23 years of business, one of the first ones that came to mind as I was thinking through, this interview and podcast was that I think a business owner and entrepreneur needs to be very, very financially tight, both on the business expenses and on your personal. Like if you're personally connected to that business and the profits that are coming out of it, which is usually the case when you're an entrepreneur who's just starting off, but there are entrepreneurs that, like they already have some wealth and they fund it, a new idea, and they seed it, and they're gonna go. But dollars it means something different because it's so much more risky to fail and waste some of that valuable money that you have on an investment. So I love to think that I'm a person who would categorize risk as positive risk and negative risk, right? Like there are different kinds of it. I think risk is a cool thing. It's a good thing. I would encourage our kids to go for it. Like there's a risk involved, like engage in that game and calculate it and tackle it and go after it. Now, there are going to be losses everywhere. Like you're going to not know things until you try. But financially, I think a lot of the things where I've seen other businesses or efforts fail was when maybe people sunk too much into something and it just crippled their efforts. And so some of the KZoom story is like this. I think that people would look at it today and say that you've made it, right? Like, oh, you're successful now. But 4 years ago, I'm not sure if they would have said the same thing. This is 20 years into the business. It's 2020, it's 2021. And right through COVID, we had 4 employees, not 15. 4 employees. And I told 2 of them, hey, I think it's the best course of action right now to lay you off during COVID.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what to do. We just lost $100,000 of booked business that people are not going to have those events. I don't know what to do. I think we're going to reduce to two paid employees, me and one other employee. And I think we should lay off 2 people. Like that's like 4 to 5 years ago. So like of maybe some of our recent successes, it truly was the long game, the long term. I felt like in 2019, 2020, things were successful. I wasn't looking down on it of like, oh, we haven't made it yet. But in that long game of like slow pace, like a long distance run type of view, right? I saw a lot of other businesses, like especially with real estate. Like I need this really awesome space to justify that I'm a legitimate business. And then you're paying all of that extra dollars or income that you could use for something else and just sinking it into your real estate and never getting out from under that weight. So, and I'm even thinking rent, like a rent scenario that was it was too much. So I tend to think about being very financially tight on decision making, shrewd, like and I don't know if that's a piece that people would read into interactions with me, but it's something that was like very, very real for 2 decades. Like things with family were limited, or like we're not going to spend here, and here. We've got to make these sacrifices to keep the doors of opportunity and always invest that back into the business. It's like, oh, we've got this much that we just made, but we can't keep it and we can't go spend it because we're going to pour it back in and reinvest and reinvest. And the seeds that were planted all along the way, like some of those things, now are, evidenced in the last 3 to 4 years when it's like, all right, now we're taking off. And I would consider the last, 4 to 5 years like absolute breakthrough years, but it took 20 years to get there.
So what do you attribute to the breakthrough in the last 4 years?
I think there are a lot of factors with that. I don't like people who the economy is the answer to that type of, like whether you're doing well in your business or you're not. It's like, the economy sucks right now. Things are down, whatever. Like, I don't like that at all. Like or same thing with the weather. It's like, I don't like to be like, it's a rainy day out and it's a bad thing, or it's sunny and I feel great. Like, it's like, nope, it's steady. It's like, hey, when things are down, there are opportunities right now. So recently I had this conversation about like viewing opportunities even in the midst of the economy. Let's say things are tight right now with inflation, and that's a challenge. Well, bigger companies right now are making, they might need to tighten right now. They might be with a really expensive agency for their marketing. The huge, companies are looking to hire somebody that's a deal for them. The deal for them might be a huge opportunity for us to step up into that opportunity when the economy is kind of tight with people's decision making. So our mindset needs to be on the opportunities as they develop. So I guess one angle to that question of like what a breakthrough moment, right? Yeah, we tend to think of the economy as like, oh, it's going to dictate the highs and lows, but like there are opportunities from within that. So I don't think that that's a good answer of like why the last couple of years have been a breakthrough. Some of it is that we had a vision for the developed future team of KZoom that
Okay.
is a target that was my long game. So some of that thinking and development, or the majority of it, came through in 2020, a month before COVID. I started meeting with a business coach, Michael McDonald. So he's
Ah.
not a well-known person that like is out there promoting his name and that kind of thing, but that was absolutely transformational in my thinking and in my vision development. So I have an org chart um, from 15 employees all the way to 24. Like that's done. Like that's the future vision.
Okay, so this was like, what was that mind shift that the business coach helped you with? Is it visualizing where you want to be?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Okay.
visualizing, it's talking through that, it's having it was a thought partner to create and solidify that plan. And
Okay.
so when some greater successes on individual projects came through in 2020, 2021, 2022, we already knew where those dollars were going to go, because the goal was to build out a complete full service marketing team. But for real, like a lot of people say now, it's like we do full service because we do websites and photos. And it's like, well, that's not full service. It's like for literally every area of marketing that exists, our vision was to put 2 experts on each of those teams. Not just one, we start with one, but to hire and bring in a true expert in each of those areas of business. So like the vision was there so that when the dollars came in, we already knew where we were going to head with that advantage.
Yeah. So it sounds like the business coach helped align your mindset, which then helped you visualize and plan out what your future looks like, which then just set the train in motion basically
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very
But
interesting.
I would tie it to some of those opportunities within the economic environment, and like there's a lot of little things in there as well. So on that note, post-COVID, companies were really aware that they weren't prepared digitally for a more digital working environment. They
Yeah.
needed more presence digitally. And so there was like, as much as there was a loss of business right when COVID happened, then there was the wave kind of came back within 12 to 18 months, where there was a greater digital need than ever. And I think that people have that has stuck as well. That it's like, yes, like we're not going to return to as many in-person things. We need a beefier, even like case studies. I don't remember people talking about case studies 10 years ago. It was probably wrong, but you pictured it in print. It's like, we want video case studies. We want a full testimonial. We want a testimonial that isn't just like, hey, they did a great job. It's like, oh, we're going to include details of finances and return on investment and a full case study, but it's embodied way more digitally and way more in a video format than ever before.
So where do you see KZoom in 5-10 years? What's next for you?
Yeah. And again, I don't think our future vision is tied to a specific timeline. I've never resonated with like the 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10-year goal. Like that's great. Like I think it creates great checkpoints, or whatever. But I'm more drawn to like, what is the total vision? And then we're going to work in that direction. So things were rapidly accelerated for KZoom in the last 5 years because the vision was in place. But if I had made a 5-year goal when I was thinking of being two core employees and like, are we going to lay people off, which didn't happen. I never closed that loop, Judy. like the PPP loan kind of came through.
Oh, yeah.
And I reached out to a notable credit union in the area, which is Honor Credit Union.
Oh, I've heard of
And
them.
they're super cool.
It's very
They
cool.
literally, they were there right in that moment to say, hey, here's this PPP thing. Here's how we think we're going to work. And they were the best financial organization in town. Like I went to a couple places and went to the primary bank that I was at that time. And they were the ones that like were on the ground advising, and here's what we can do. And that was a critical financial piece to say, we're not going to lay anybody off right now.
Oh,
So that was a loose end I didn't tie up there, but
yeah, no, that's a great tie. I like it.
yeah. But if I was to in 2020 say, what's our 5-year goal? Or if you asked me that, what's your 1-year goal, in 2020 after COVID hit, I wouldn't have described it as we want to add 3 employees in the next 2 years.
Right.
There's no way I would have answered that. Like that wasn't the reality right then, but the vision was still there. So I love the chipping away at it in kind of realistic timeline. And I also say that in light of the reality of the first 20 years. Like it took 2 decades to build up to a point where my leadership or knowledge or business experience or connections added up to be able to hit that next checkpoint. And that's just what it took. Like I don't look back on it with any, man, I wish I would have known that then. It's like you kind of know what you know at certain points, and you can't beat yourself up about it.
Did you ever have a mentor during your business journey?
So yes, with that business coach that I mentioned, that was the first real-time kind of business mentor. But prior to that, and this might sound funny to you, I believe that marketing directors were the ongoing mentor for me in KZoom as a digital agency. So even if we supplied just one small piece of the bigger marketing picture, a video or a photo shoot or whatever, it's working with people like you all the way back to your roots with ECCU, not Arbor, right? ECCU. Experiences like that, we got to see how marketing directors put together a full campaign or a full marketing picture. And we were always a part of a little piece of that. But that to me was the honest mentor over time was marketing directors and having that constant working with them to fulfill marketing needs.
Yeah, interesting.
That's a compliment to you and even in that role and working with you in the past, even 15 years ago.
Yeah. Well, thank you. A silent mentor.
Hold on.
Your group was always fun to work with. Oh.
Marketing directors.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Well, and you were always fun to work with because you brought such dynamic, creative, and outrageous ideas to the table, which were always fun to vet and to play with. So I thank you and your team for that. One last question for you. And I know you just talked about, advice and what you could have known, but if you had to rewind the clock and you could tell your younger self something, or you sat across the table from a young, aspiring entrepreneur, business owner, manager, what advice would you give them that you know about the industry now? Like what lessons or advice would you give them?
I think there are a lot of things that I could say here. It's like there's a lot, right? Like that's a hard singular answer. One of the stories that just came to my mind as I was considering that is that a friend of mine came to me about 6 or 7 years ago, and he said to me, I'm thinking about going out on my own. What do you think? And before I even asked questions of like, oh, financial picture, what is it that you're thinking of doing exactly? I just said, do it.
Oh,
right.
All right.
And part of that was probably in context to his years of experience in his field of industry or that type of thing. But there are very realistic challenges where you might walk sideways financially for years and break even. But it might come down to your definition of success. So, and I think that's something I was thinking of maybe getting into, the founder's hustle. It's like, you would view KZoom as successful, but like, why? Like, how do we hold someone up as successful or not? Were we successful 8 years ago when, we were still doing this or this? Would people, is a wow factor because you have a big customer name now and like, oh, that means you're successful? And if you compared it to on a moral or family level, it's like, well, if you were successful in business, but, left your family out of it and weren't present for your family, is that successful? Usually we tend to say, no, absolutely not. Right. But in that moment of somebody asking me, should I go for it? Or what do you think? And he was leaning no, like, but just thinking maybe if I did, there's going to be some loss and there's going to be some pain financially with what you have to pour in. The hardest stage is the starting stage. That is the absolutely hardest stage. You might go down in your finances. You might lose in that early startup phase. You might break even after that. And it might be years. But is that successful to you? Like, is that a goal that you want to accomplish to do that thing on your own? If that's successful, go all in and go for it. There's value in that, even separate from the things that we usually weigh as like, oh, that's the mark of success, which is usually money, right? But I would say go for it with the things that are so valuable, which could be time. It's like you have flexibility, or you're more present at home, or you're more present with your family, and all of those things. I would say define what it is that's valuable to you. And then typically my advice is go all in, go for it. And I could get strategic with advice of like, form a strategic plan. And we get that way with marketing or with clients and all of that stuff. But sometimes it's just that motivation that's the same thing that my father-in-law just responded with of like, yeah, how much do you need? Like there's not even a conversation. It was that I'm here to support. I'm here to say, you've got it. Like, I believe in you, like that kind of thing.
And I'm so glad that you just went for it back in 2003 as a young man. And yeah, 15 other people are probably very excited that you did that as well, your employees. Let's talk a little bit about you. Where can our listeners and viewers, where can they find you? How do they reach out? How do they connect with you?
Just our website. We do have an email newsletter you could sign up for. We do lots of fun and informative things there all across the board with what we're up to, marketing tips and just some fun and entertaining stuff. And I have one last answer to that.
Yes.
Recently, in the last couple of months, KZoom launched a new website called the 269 Network. It is spelled just like the word network without the O. We did it to be weird. Somebody was like, was that not available? And we're like, no, it was available. We just try to be weird. Like, it's different. Network without the O, 269 Network. And we built a website that lists every networking event there is in this area.
Oh, that's smart.
Some of the motivation for doing that was actually tied to a little bit of the story you heard about. And I haven't really shared this with a lot of people openly or whatever, but I was 10 years without a resource like that. I didn't know you could get out and network. I didn't know how to do it. And in time, like so much of KZoom has been built through our connections, through networking events and things like that. We wanted it to be a tool that served anyone and everyone, and to simplify the whole networking world of like, rather than having constant bombardment of like reminders of everything that's going on, you could just go there and look to see what's happening in the area.
That is fantastic. Well, I will look up 269 Network. I'm going to drop it in the link below so that anybody can see it. If they're watching on YouTube, I'll have that all linked up both to 269 Network and to KZoom.com and every place else that they can connect with you on. So I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation today. I look forward to seeing you on the street sometime and doing a next project and staying in the loop. And if there's anybody out there that needs some fabulous digital marketing and or video production, Dan's the man. Absolutely. Dan is the man. So look him up, KZoom.com. And thank you so much for being a guest today.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's Founders Hustle. I would absolutely love to know what resonated with you the most from today's guest. Go ahead and drop me a comment if you're watching this on YouTube. Also, if there's a future topic that you'd like me to touch on, go ahead and drop that in the comments as well. But no matter where you're watching or streaming your favorite shows, hit that subscribe button. Follow me on social media. Tell a friend about this. I would love the support. But in the meantime, keep living, keep growing, and keep hustling because you are meant to do great things. See you next week.